Many of us are wondering what's going on with the Georgia election fraud situation. Tulsi Gabbard, the FBI, President Trump, and a federal judge went in, confiscated the ballots, the election machines, emails, all of it. And then now it's kind of gone quiet. Well, I just finished an interview that blew my socks off. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we realize. And it just came out within the last 48 hours that Tulsi Gabbard quietly confiscated the voting machines of Puerto Rico. Why? Because a U.S. attorney down there said, I think that there was cheating in the election, and he handed everything over to her. Well, they've been quietly plowing through all of the voting systems, the software, all of the electronics, the components, the nodes, the chips, everything. And I think a lot is about to come out. Now, I want to share this with you. This is a former CIA asset under Barack Obama, the guy that set up Hillary Clinton and helped her lose the election as a dark operation. He's on with Harrison Smith over on InfoWars, and they go through this. Now, it was like a 3-hour interview. I found a 1-hour clip. We're not going to go through the full hour. This will be under 20 minutes, but I want to go through this with you and react because I think you guys are going to find this extremely fascinating like I did. Listen to this.
Last time we talked, or maybe the time before, it was about the raid on the Fulton County election system. Then, of course, Epstein just wiped everything off the map. So let's return to that. Has anything developed from the Fulton County raid from the FBI? Is there any developments in that in the last week?
That's a good question. Yeah, just in the last 2 days, Tulsi's been getting all this flack from Congress. What's your authority? What are you? You're the DNI. Why are you? Well, she wrote a letter to Congress. Have you looked at that letter yet? She wrote a letter back to Congress saying, of course I've got the authority. She actually quotes language that's actually out of Barack Obama. Barack Obama signed something in 2015 that said, if there's foreign involvement or intrusion into an election, it stops from being a criminal matter and shifts to being under the purview of the Director of National Intelligence to assemble and analyze and collate and boom, 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 everything about it. It becomes a national security issue under the Director of National Intelligence. And so she wrote back to Congress yesterday this beautiful letter. You should find it, establishing I absolutely had the authority. But what that tells you is they now know that there's a foreign component to all of this. And don't believe the Reuters and the people who are saying, well, they've acknowledged Venezuela didn't meddle. You know, they have such a ridiculous standard. They're not going to find links on the computer, you know, that back to Venezuela. But Venezuela meddled because the whole system was developed in Venezuela and is left with back doors. And yes, I'm highly confident they're going to report there was foreign access. The foreign access is going to show something like somebody from Canada came on in the middle of the election. But that once you have foreign access to Canada, they can be anywhere. There's like might be 3 or 4 hops, but they're over in Serbia. Turn out this. So anyway, I think that they turns out that they. So that's and they announced who it did it. It's actually all been done. There's a Reuters story today about it, that this raid and Tulsi's reply back to Congress was done not under those authorities, but it turns out there's been a United States attorney who's been working with a prosecutor, another federal prosecutor in Miami. There was a U.S. attorney of Puerto Rico who's actually, now have learned today that he raided he had reason to raid the Puerto Rican elections after 2024, and he seized Dominion equipment. Now, they all thought they were never going to lose. So who knows what mischief is documented on those computers. They seized those computers in 2024. It's been a big secret, but they've now revealed that. And the guy who did it, I want to emphasize this before they tarnish him. The fellow who did it is a gentleman named Stephen Muldrow, and he's the United States Attorney of Puerto Rico, and he is a prosecutor's prosecutor. He was a 36-year DOJ prosecutor. He's not a Trumplican. He's a career DOJ good guy. He widely regarded. Trump appointed him to U.S. Attorney of Puerto Rico, there's like 94 U.S. attorneys around the country. Small states get 1, big states get 2 or more. They're kind of the cardinals of the Catholic Church, so to speak. They're very, very significant people. And there's if there's 94 of them, Biden came in. He fired 93 of them. He fired 93. There was one he didn't fire, the guy down in Puerto Rico, because he wasn't a Trump guy. He was a very widely respected, well-regarded career DOJ guy. His name's Stephen Muldrow. Biden let him stay and then reappointed him when his term was up. And so he's impeccably respected across the DOJ. It turns out that after the 2024 election, he had some kind of secret task force going, or he's cooperated with these Miami-based people, and they went in and seized. They must have had probable cause to do it, of rigging the election, and they seized the equipment that was used in Puerto Rico. There's no question anymore that Tulsi has all the answers. They've had a year. The CIA, NSA type guys have had a year. FBI, DHS have disassembled this equipment, have discovered all the hacks, it's kind of a settled question. It's just a question of, like with Epstein, how many cards do they lay on the table at a time?
Right. No, it's fascinating. I actually had not seen the letter that she sent. I saw she posted it on X. I just looked it up while you were talking there. Contrary to the blatantly false and slanderous accusations being made against me by members of Congress and their friends in the propaganda media, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence has and will continue to take action under my statutory authorities to secure our nation and ensure the integrity of our election. So very powerful letter there. I thought you were talking about the letter from the ODNI, basically saying that the whistleblower claims against Tulsi had already been investigated and hadn't been. So this just shows how much attack that Tulsi's under right now. Because the whistleblower account was obviously false, according to the letter from the ODNI. She's also under attack from Congress. So, I mean, they're really trying to get in her way.
All right. So I'm going to keep going. It gets really, really good. But so this attorney, a U.S. attorney in Puerto Rico, hands everything over to Tulsi Gabbard and the Trump administration quietly. They've been digging through all of this source code, backdoors, international interference, all of that. That was what was likely used in order to get a federal judge in Georgia to say, all right, you guys have probable cause, go pick up the ballots. So there's a lot more going on. He's going to go even deeper on this, but can you guys see why they're putting so much pressure on Tulsi Gabbard right now, saying that she's broken the law, that they're going to impeach her, that she has no right to do this? They are panicking because under Obama, he wrote into law that she absolutely has the right to do this. Because of picking up the non-federal Puerto Rican stuff, they can see whether there is interference, vote switching, foreign actors. I mean, it's unbelievable what they're going to be exposing. And I wanted to bring this to your guys' attention. All right, let's keep going because this is just continues to get good for the next few minutes.
That was a nothing burger. That attack was a nothing burger. She is the Schwerpunkt, the Clausewitz would call it the spear, the tip of the spear, one of the spear that they have to deflect, they have to beat. She really came in. I thought it was going to be JD Vance, but it was actually Tulsi came in this administration and grabbed, came in on the sound Wall Street, someone who's going to bite the ass off a bear. She came in, well, actually the first few months, she was getting misdirection from her own people beneath her, the CIA, who's telling, and so it took her a few months to really get how treacherous they were. But she finally in June got the bit between her teeth. Again, I want to make clear, I'm not an insider. I'm not, during the Biden regime, I was one step ahead of the sheriff. I'm not one step ahead of the sheriff now, I think, but I'm not an insider. However, I talk to and help from outside craft a lot of the insiders and the witnesses and such. I've had a lot to do with helping Yenta, all that stuff together. So I know what's been going on. I think that she had came in and by June got the bit between her teeth really. And she's going to go down in history. She got to the bottom of everything.
Well, that's
what an effort.
That's certainly what we've been hearing for a while. So it's good to see like boots on the ground, things actually happening. We'll go to this video quickly. This was posted today in response to the Reuters story about Puerto Rico being involved. It was Puerto Rico, right?
Yes.
So this is a video from last May of Tulsi Gabbard at a meeting with Trump. So let's go to this. So this is from last May, her laying out, what they discovered.
We're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections.
So, they've been saying for a while that they've had it all. I mean, she came out a couple times going, when it came to Russiagate, we've got it, goes all the way up to Obama. I mean, are they going to get this stuff done for it to impact the midterms, do you think? I mean, they're sort of running out of time here. And if they don't get it done by November or even before then, I mean, that's going to be it. Are they on the right timetable here, do you think?
I think they're coming up against, they're not going to get it done before the primaries unless they act in the next couple of weeks. Primaries start first or second week of March, I think around March 6th or something. So I think it's got to be a national emergency. What I really think has to happen is this has to be moved into the Department of War. This is we're in World War III. This was the point of everything we went through with COVID and Antifa and all that psyop, was to get us on our heels so they could shove this down our throat. This stuff. I would say that this has to move into the Department of War. Let me give you an example, and this is public. The FBI leader who was supposed to lead that raid into Acton, he got fired, and it's in the Gateway Pundit. He got fired and why. But let me share with your readers. And so they made this public. That guy, the FBI agent who was supposed to do this, sabotage it. He submitted a subpoena or a warrant application to the judge that had errors in it, and it turns out that these.
All right, he goes on a little bit further. It gets a little bit complicated. I just wanted to bring you guys that information that this thing in Puerto Rico has happened. They've grabbed all of this. They've been going through it. It likely was what they used in order to get this judge to sign off on gathering all of the stuff down in Georgia. Now you've got people like Adam Schiff, who said that foreign actors interfered in American elections for years in order to get Donald Trump in. He's now saying there's no foreign interference, and Tulsi Gabbard has no reason to be investigating American elections, that she needs to be removed, that Trump needs to put her down. But listen to what Roger Stone shared, which I found very interesting.
There is no question whatsoever that the working group in the United States, which appears to be headed by Tulsi Gabbard, has very solid evidence of both Venezuelan and Chinese online interference in our election. I do have to tell you, Eric, there are elements within our own government who don't want that information to come out, don't want it to be reviewed. I suspect it's because there are some in our intelligence agencies who've used this same technology to interfere in foreign elections in the past, and perhaps were involved in the use of it here in the United States. So it is a struggle internally, but the president is very serious about getting to the bottom of it. He's chosen the right person because Tulsi Gabbard demonstrated to us in the Russian collusion hoax, where she finally declassified all the documents, proving that was the greatest single dirty trick in American political history and probably the largest single abuse of power.
All right. So we have the right person. Trump has the right person. They just announced within the last 72 hours that the president of the United States asked her to personally head up looking into election integrity. You go back a couple of weeks, you've got the court-approved raid on the Georgia election office. And then you go back a few months where they didn't tell anybody. They actually gathered and have been quietly researching all of the voting machines and ballots and votes out of Puerto Rico. Anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than you and I know. I know we want to see a big blockbuster, movie-like arrest scene within 60 minutes or something. this stuff moves a little bit slower to the point where people are now saying, are we going to get it done? We've got the evidence. We've got all the information. Are we going to get it done in time? I think that they will. I think a lot is going to come out later this month and in March, but wanted to give you guys that update. Make sure to like and share this video. Also subscribe. I've got so many great videos and interviews with big, big names coming up this week. All right, stay amazing, and I'll see you on the next video.